Um, let's get into the Tupac thing. So, when were you aware of what happened in Vegas? Was it the night Tupac was shot, or was it later on the 13th when he passed away?
No, it was the night he was shot. Um, Reggie Wright Sr. was our boss. He was lieutenant in charge of the gang unit. His son, Reggie Wright Jr., was the head of Right Way Security. So naturally they talked. So at the night Tupac was shot, they talked, and Reggie ended up hearing what happened. So he called Tim and I. We were on our days off, and he told us, "Hey man, Suge and Tupac just got shot in Vegas, and we're hearing it's Southside Crips." He goes, "Man," he goes, "it's coming back to Compton, so y'all better get ready, because it's coming." And sure enough, it did.
And and this is going to sound odd, and I'll explain why I'm asking it after you answer. But when Reggie contacted you, Reggie Senior, the night, or yeah, the night that Tupac was killed, was he there in Compton?
Yes, he was at home. It was his night off too. So he wasn't in Vegas. So I know where everyone's going with the, oh, I saw Reggie in Vegas. Reggie was at home. He wasn't anywhere near Vegas. Because a couple of days later we had our first shooting, and he's the one that told us to come in. So
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. I just wanted to clear that part up. But okay, so take me through the timeline of events. So Tupac gets shot on the 7th. You guys are informed by Reggie Sr. on the 7th that it's believed that Southside Crips were behind it. When do the chain of events happen to where the kind of war breaks out in Compton? Is it right afterwards, or is it days later after Tupac passes away? And can you tell me just some of the incidents that happened during this war in Compton?
um, sure. So we hear about the shooting in Vegas, and it was 3 days later that our first shooting happened. It was on our day off. It was a Monday, I believe. I mean, it was 27 years ago, so bear with me on this. But one of the OGs from Southside Crip was in the 2400 block of East Alondra, and it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he's going into a market over there, and a drive-by happened, and he gets shot up pretty good, along with a 10-year-old little girl who happened just to be in the market too. She got shot, and she was in critical condition for a while, but she ended up making it. But that was our first incident where the suspects were said to be Mob Piru, or Looters Park Piru, and that was 3 days after the Tupac shooting in Vegas. So the next day, the day 4, now this was a busy day for us. We had a little conflict contacting Las Vegas because of the Reggie Jr. and the Reggie Sr. Being father and son, and Reggie running the gang unit. So there was a little conflict there, and by all means, I don't blame Vegas one bit being hesitant to give us any information. So on day 4, we come into work, and they take Reggie off the case, and they make Tim and I the liaison with the detectives from Las Vegas, Becker and Frank. So it wasn't until 4 days later until we actually talked with Vegas the first time to get some information from them. So we got information about that, about the white Cadillac, and they were hearing names about Orlando Anderson, and they told us that they had the fight after the Tyson fight at the MGM. So they told us all about that. And we told them what we were hearing also, because we were getting information about who the players were in the car. We heard it was Keefe D, Big Dre, Orlando, and Bubble Up were the ones in the car. So we were exchanging information at that time. So it wasn't like 2 o'clock in the afternoon boom, we had our first retaliation up in the Mob Piru territory. We had 2 gunshot victims. And the suspect information was like, it was like 4 Southside Crips in a blue Blazer. So Reggie Sr., he's out there monitoring the radio. He goes over to South Park. He sees a burgundy Blazer with 4 Southside Crips in the car, right? So he jams them up. And they didn't end up being the suspect, but you know, what was significant about this was the registered owner and the driver was from Las Vegas. And he had an address of 2109 Haviland Street in Las Vegas. This is kind of significant because later on that night, that same night, Tim and I, we get a call from an informant, and they say, hey, these guys at 1315 East Glencoe Street, they have a bunch of guns and they're gearing up for this war. They have a bunch of ammo and guns inside the house. 1315 East Glencoe, everybody knew it's a street in Southside Crip territory, and we've had drug busts there all the time. We had drive-by shootings, just a known gang hangout. So everybody knew where 1315 East Glencoe was. So Tim and I, we hop in our car and we drive over to Glencoe Street, and luck was on our side because we saw a guy named Jerry Bonds, Monk. He was standing outside. So he looks at us, his eyes get, you know, big, and he just takes off running. And in Compton, we call it the Gat Run, man, because we've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times. When someone takes off running, you know they have a gun, because most people, when they take off running, you know, they're, you know, pumping their arms. People that have guns, man, they grab their waistband or they grab their pocket to hold the gun in, and they take off running. And this is what Monk did, right? We've seen it hundreds of times, and we call it the Gat Run. And so Timmy jumps out. He chases Monk. He disappears behind the duplex at 1315 East Glencoe, and I lose sight of him. Well, he left the door wide open, and that was my moment, I guess. It was, when I look back at it, it was a pretty stupid thing to do, because I know there was going to be a bunch of Southside Crip gang members in there, but it was my opportunity. So I ran right in the front door, and sure enough, there were 5 Southside Crips in there running all over the place. So I did my best to round them up. We called for backup. And when all the dust settled, we got a duffel bag full of guns and ammo. We got 40 caliber ammo. We had rifles. We had ski masks. But on the duffel bag, there was a Southwest, what do you call that? There was a little tag, the luggage tag on the duffel bag, and it said 2109 Haviland Street, just like the car Reggie pulled over earlier. So basically what this told us, you know, was that these guys had a house in Vegas where they could go to and get guns or whatever, because during this time, we knew that they had a place somewhere in Vegas, but we didn't know where, because when a Southside Crip was wanted for murder, they would go to Vegas, because Tim and I went up there 2 times to extradite people that were wanted for murders in Vegas somewhere. So we knew when they committed a murder in Compton, they went to Vegas, but we didn't know where, and we figured, hey, this is probably their stash house. So we gave, you know, we forwarded this information to Las Vegas, and that was the end of day 4. So that was pretty wild night.